welcome to our second edition of the Friday Girl Talk here on Bali Talks. Thank you so much for those who are going to join us today to watch the video. Since we're still in lockdown, I hope you guys are keeping strong, I hope you guys are keeping safe and you're doing your best to sanitize and you're doing your best not to roam the streets spreading the virus. Okay, so let's get into our questions today. Our questions today are a bit, sensitive, deep, so I hope I can do my best to answer them as best as my knowledge can carry me. And if you don't agree with me, well, each to his own. You're allowed your own opinion. So yeah, let's get into it. Question 1, how much should you share about your relationship with your friends? As much as you're comfortable. If your friends are good people, your friends will know that relationships work out on some days, and on some days they don't work out. If they decide to judge you on something you said yesterday when things were not working out, that's their problem. At the end of the day, true friendship is me being able to be open, and like I said, relationships have ups and they have downs. The only thing is, obviously, if your relationship is abusive, emotionally, physically, I can kind of understand how your friends would probably react. However, if that's the case, I would honestly advise you to seek outside help, outside your friends, so that you can literally get away from that relationship, because no one wants to be in an abusive relationship, guys. Honestly. Second question, how do you balance being strong with making sacrifices or patience to make your relationship work? Well, generally, relationships are about compromising, are about trying to see the point of view of the other person. If you feel like that's a bit emasculating for you, if you're a guy and you feel like, bending what you believe in to please your partner is not the way to go about it, then you don't deserve a real relationship. Like, you literally deserve to be in relationships with people who don't want to be in a serious relationship, because a serious relationship, like it or not, will have sacrifices. So just don't sacrifice to a point where you're giving off yourself, like you're losing yourself to keep the relationship. If you feel like you're in a relationship like that, get out today. That relationship is not the one you're supposed to be in. It's not for you. It's not a constructive relationship. No. However, you will need to compromise in a relationship. That happens. That's how relationships work, because the person you're in a relationship with, you didn't grow up with them. So you're more likely to have a couple of differences before you guys get it right. Third question, have you found it easier to maintain your long-term friendships since you relocated to another country? Or have you decided to find new friends where you are? I think I've always just been lucky to find myself in more or less the same group of friends for years now. Like friends that I grew up with in Swaziland, some of them now stay in SA, so I just get to keep hanging out with the same people. The good friends that I've made here in SA, luckily for me, are found to be friends that blend well with my SD friends or my friends from home. So that's always worked. Other than that, I really try to make an effort to keep the fires burning in my relationships or my friendships that I have back home. I have WhatsApp groups. We check on each other every day. We send crazy memes. And again, remember guys, relationships are a two-way thing. So if I were not making the effort to keep them, I don't see how they would then make an effort to keep me in the relationship. But so far, it's worked out quite well. My friends in Swaziland also make an effort sometimes to come and visit me. Well, I go to Swaziland every now and again, so I guess they get to see me as often as possible. But yeah, man, relationships are two-way. If you make it work, everybody makes it work. If nobody decides to make it work, then it ain't gonna work. Next question. How have you managed to be a young Makot and still be a fun person? I always believe in being yourself. Even when I was trying to locate or meet or to structure or to choose, I don't know, whatever word you want to use, a partner that I was going to settle down with, I tried to make sure that it was somebody who understood the type of person I am, like who understood that I'm not going to suddenly stop wearing shorts, or I'm going to suddenly stop wearing my lipstick, or I'm going to stop wearing makeup. Someone who understands that I love weaves. So that just kind of fits into the kind of relationship we have. I think to a certain extent, we really respect individualism in my relationship. And that's just the relationship I have with a lot of people. Like, I'm very good at accepting you the way you are and hope the same for me, So that's just how I've maintained it. I've just tried not to change. I think people get married and then they change a lot. Especially women, because it's a societal thing. Like, it's kind of like, now that you're married, you need to wear long dresses. You can't wear a bikini. You need to. I feel like if that's what you believe in, good luck. But if your man met you when you were fun and outgoing and living your life and looking all pretty and doing your makeup, and then suddenly you marry him and you change that whole situation, girl, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think he'll still be interested in that same person? Do you think he'll still see you as his best friend? He can pretend to, but will he really? Will he really? Think about that. So yeah, I've just remained myself, and I think that's very key in a relationship. You can't give someone something that you're not. And if you change to try and please him, I can assure you at some point he's going to be bored with the robot that he has built in you. And then that relationship is just going to spiral all the way down. Next question. What is your take on people shaming women for staying in relationships where there's infidelity? I have so much to say about that, guys. So much to say. I think if your guy cheats, say maybe once, and you feel like, you know, he cheated once and he's gonna change and you're gonna take him back, more often than not, that's not the case. But that's not the topic we're on today. If somebody shames you publicly, which I think probably this refers to public figures, celebrities, if you're a celebrity or a public figure or an influential person and you decide to put your relationship on social media the same way that you put all your other work on social media, then if your relationship does not work out and people decide to publicly discuss it, don't feel bad. Grow a crocodile skin, move on. At the end of the day, it's up to you what you put on your social media, so people cannot direct it. But if you do put it, just know that you're putting it and it's up for discussion. I don't believe in shaming anyone for bad decisions, because I feel like at the end of the day, we've all been in situations where we've made mistakes. So I would not necessarily shame someone for a mistake that they did. But obviously, I will have an opinion, because you've put your relationship on your public platform. The same way you put your product that you sell, the same way that you've put your lifestyle that you're trying to sell, the same way that you've put your blog that you're trying to sell. If you put your relationship and people come for it because now it's not working, sorry, you kind of contributed to the problem. That's how I feel. Would you take a Kumbi and let your boyfriend drive your car? Yes, if the relationship is a functional one. I believe people should be partners, should be best friends, should be there for each other. If for whatever reason my boyfriend does not have a car and I have one and he needs it on that particular day and I need to take a taxi, then it makes sense, because that's the same expectation I would have of him as my partner if the tables were to be turned. What's something weird you find attractive in men? A broken structure of teeth. I don't know what they call it in other languages. In my language, it's stogo. Like if a guy has like a forward or, you know, weird, just one, you know, I kind of feel like, weird, right? I know. If you find someone who is able to put up with you, even though you know you're difficult, should you do all you can to hold on to that person? Definitely. If you're a difficult person and you know, if you're a bully like me and you know, and someone's putting up with your ish, then it makes sense for you to try by all means to keep that person. But however, again, I will say, don't try to keep a relationship to a point where you actually lose yourself, like you lose your essence. You really need to do a 360 and change in order to fit into that relationship. That's not the relationship I'm encouraging. I'm encouraging a relationship where people understand that we're not the same, where people feel like my person's difficult, but I love her crazy anyway. That's a relationship to keep. Like, who else is going to take you crazy if you don't stick it out with the person who's trying to take you crazy? Come on. What do you love most about being yourself? My ability to be myself. Like, I often feel like people change a lot to try and impress people, whether it's their friends, whether it's their family. I've just never been that person, and I think that's really worked out well for me in the past. I feel like people who've associated themselves with me because I've always remained who I was. And I found that being that type of a person always encourages the next person to want to be their full self, because if I want to be my full self, then I am willing to accept somebody else being their full self. So then everyone gets to be comfortable around me, enough for me to get to know them. If I do that to you, I give you 100% of myself, and you give me a plate full of ish. If I decide to remove you, delete from my life, I feel no shame, because I feel like I brought 100% of myself to this relationship, and you decided to be a jerk, or you decided not to accept me, or you decided to feel like I was too much. then that just meant that relationship was never going to work. My biggest asset is always being able to remain myself in a situation. I think also with ladies, it helps you not feel like you're intimidated by women, because I feel like women hate on each other because you're intimidated by the person. And that's because you've not found who you are as a person. The day you truly find yourself, the day you truly find who you are, the day you're comfortable being yourself in your own skin, being loud, having a loud laugh, wearing makeup, etc., you will not see a reason to feel like another woman is your competition, or you're intimidated by them, or you need to hate on them because they're just trying to live their lives. The reason most of the time women hate on each other is because you're not living your life. To a certain extent, you wish you were living the life of the person you're envious of. What's the secret there? Be yourself. Live your life the way that you want. You're never going to feel like somebody is in your space or trying to take your shine, because you know that you're worth it. You know that you're substantial on your own as yourself. So I feel like that's the biggest thing, guys. Next question. Do you ever find yourself having to pretend to like someone? I don't hang around people I pretend to like. It's just like, too much, honey. No. I don't hang around people like that, and neither should you. If you feel like you need to pretend with someone, it better be a work colleague, or someone at church, or someone in your family, like people that you need to spend this much amount of time with, then maybe. But people that you need to constantly be around, smile, cheers, choma, and you know you don't like that person, what the hell are you doing wasting your time? You're wasting your whole life. You're wasting hours of your time and effort trying to be with someone you don't even like. Why? Again, why? In your journey with self-love, have you ever been one to put people first before yourself, or you have always mastered the art of putting yourself first? Something like that. Either whether it's friends or a guy. Again, it's okay to compromise. You're allowed to put other people first, or to go an extra mile for other people, so long as it's not damaging the person you are. So long as it's not killing the type of person you are. If it is, that's not the relationship you want. Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship with a guy, that's not the relationship you need to be in, because you don't want to be in any interaction that kills who you are as a person. You don't want to be in an interaction that kills who you are as a person, period. Next question. Given a chance to talk to the world for 5 minutes, what would you say? Okay, this is the last question, so I think it's befitting. I would say find yourself. Find who you are, find what you like, find who you like, find the kind of music, the kind of clothes, the kind of career, the kind of business. Just find who you are, find what works for you, find your true essence as a person. And the reason I would encourage that is the minute you find who you are, it'll be easy for you to find your purpose. It'll be easy for you, again, like I said, to understand why there's enough sunshine for all of us. You know, you will not find yourself in situations where you feel small, where you feel intimidated by people because they are of bigger character. You know, I'm a very strong character. If you encounter me, the first instinct people have had is not to like me. And I've understood that it's because people are generally uncomfortable around someone who's comfortable being themselves. So I would say to you, if you want to be comfortable in life, if you want to live a better life, if you want to live a happy life, if you want to live a life full of the kind of purpose that is for you, find yourself. Find what works for you. Do that. Don't care what anyone else says. Take constructive criticism, but don't take everything to heart. Sometimes people will reflect their own fears onto you, and that's them. That's because they've not found themselves. That's because they still feel like they have a right to tell people how to live their lives. That's because they've not found themselves. Again, like, I can't emphasize it enough. So that would be the biggest thing that I would tell the world. Find yourself, find your purpose, find what works for you, and live your life to the fullest. Like, anyway, so that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for those who sent in questions. Hopefully we'll have another one. If you guys keep sending me more questions, we'll try and do it every other Friday. And yeah, man, keep safe, keep strong, keep the faith. We are going to get through this, and better days are coming. That's what I believe in. So cheers, happy Friday.